All right, we're back, and this is the design that we're working on still. This has got a really lovely background to it, and I'm not quite too happy with my background. So let's talk about what we can do to fix this background. I'm going to first of all, I'm going to wet the entire surface once I've decided on the colors that I'm going to use. But I'm going to go to a darker green. I'm also going to reinforce the mid-value green, and we'll leave the lighter ones. Those are fine. I'm not happy with this dark. I started out with a blue dark and I didn't care for it. So let's go ahead, get some of my colors going here. This is my standard everyday green that I use for my leaves. Very dark, which I just love. I'm getting it all over. There we go. And I'm going to get my mixing brush going here. Add some water to the lighter value we have, the mid value. Add just a little bit of that green into it, so we got a mid value. There we go. Okay, and then we've got our dark green, which is really going to be lovely. I don't believe we need to mix a light, because I think what we've got on there is going to work out just fine. All right, so I've cleaned my mixing brush. I'm going to use my large brush to add water, and I'm going to do the entire background. I think when you get yourself into trouble with a background, if you're redoing it, if you only do a portion of it, that's, I think, when you're going to get yourself into trouble, because it just doesn't dry the same, and then you try to fix it, and then we have problems. That's what I do. So I'm going to do this side first. And I like these brushes. This one is a silver 3/4 brush. It's got a nice little point to it if I need it. And I do most of the time, so that's why I use the brushes that I use, because they have that nice point to it. Now I am going to go over here really far, even though I'm not going to go that far. I just want to make sure that it doesn't have a harsh line up there. And I'm going to make sure, get into these areas. And that looks pretty good. Want to be careful going around your rosebud. Now this has still got some masking fluid on it. And again, I'm going to go way over here because I don't want to have that dry harshly. Alright, missed a spot here. Now this is our second coating of a water glaze, so we're only going to put one coat on. You don't want to lift everything you've got going. And I'm going to put down that brush. I'm going to pick up, it's a number 6, nice point on it, really Showell. Even though I think it's a brand new one, I've never used it before. There we go. Now I'm going to pick up the dark value first because that's where I want to start. Dark value comes over in this area. And I'm just loading my brush, bringing it to a point. I'm going to pick up my mid value, and that comes in down here. I'm just going to turn this a little bit so I can get at it and not go over my flower too much. I don't have to. So I don't have any masking fluid on there any longer. Okay, so we're a little lighter down there. That's what I wanted. Now these little guys do have masking fluid on them, so they're okay to go over. Move my brush out of the way here. There we go. All right. We're going pretty good here, so we're going to keep right on it going. I'm going to try to stay away from the light because I really like the lights that I've got on here. And I don't want to, I'm going to switch over to the mid value. It needs a little bit more water. There we go. Up in this area. It's not a big contrast, but that's okay. You don't want a big, huge contrast between your values. So don't ever feel when you do a background, if you're that unhappy with it, that it's, what are we going to do? I guess I've just ruined it. But no, you really haven't. You can go back, just like I'm doing here, and reaffirm those colors. Take the tip of my point of my brush and get in there nice and tight. Okay, now there's one area up there that I want to reaffirm before I dry. So I do want to dry this before I go on to the other portion. I just want to get that nice and dark where it needs to be. And since that's still moist, I can just bring it on up and let it blend. All right, I'm going to dry this and we'll be right back and finish the other side. Okay, took a while to dry because it is pretty moist, especially since it's not the first time that we've coated it. So I like that so much better. I've got the darker up here and it goes softer over this way. This gets softer as it goes up, shows off those highlights. Now, let's go ahead and we'll do the other side. Let's start out with my big brush and get it wet. And again, whoops, I got water. I got green in there. Why? Get that cleaned out. There we go. And again, I'm going to do the entire area up here. Not that I'm going to put paint on the entire area. I just don't want it to soften harshly, if at all possible. Now this side I don't have any masking fluid. I had masking fluid here and here on that sepal, but I don't have any over here. So I'm just going to go real gentle right around those areas just to make sure I do get water in there. All right, looking good. Do the same thing up here. And if we need to take an eradicator to any of these petals on the rosebud, not a problem, we can do that. Sounds like my fire alarm needs to be changed. The battery keeps buzzing, so I apologize. Never know what to expect, I tell you. The other day it was a phone call. And of course nobody was there. So typical. There we go. Get those in there nice and good. Okay. This one's got less dark and more medium, but there is some dark. Let me set that brush aside and pick up my number 6. Add some water to this because this keeps getting dry on me. I don't want that in the middle of the paint. All right, so if we look at our picture, we look at it upside down the way I have the board. Dark areas right along here, right up against the rosebud again. So we're going to start there with the dark. Reinforce that. And it comes up pretty high. It comes all the way up to here, doesn't it? Okay, now I'm going to add just a little bit of water to my mid value. And again, we'll try to keep the light values in there the way they are. I like them. So we'll just ignore those. But as long as everything is wet, it should not dry harsh, which is the goal here. Yeah, that's definitely my alarm system. Got another one upstairs, so I have to check them both. Now when you dry these surfaces, especially ones like these that have been coated twice, you want to definitely make sure that you let them, because you're drying them a lot, so you definitely want to make sure that you're letting them cool down before you put any more paint anywhere. Even though I didn't wet this area and dry this area, you know some of that heat got over here. And what can happen then, with it being real hot like that and not cool down, is that paint will absorb into the watercolor paper quite rapidly, a lot more than what you're used to because of the heat. So it's important. There we go. And I'm just going to clean out my brush. I'm just going to soften this edge, just like I would with any petal or leaf or whatever that I don't want to dry harsh. Same thing up here. I'm going to start on this side because I don't think I got a lot of moisture over here, so I just want to make sure I do get some moisture over here so it doesn't dry in a line that we don't want. All right, now I'm going to dry this, and I will be right back with you so you can see how much better it looks. So I'll be right back. All right, I got everything nice and dry and cool to the touch. So I've gone ahead then and I just redid my entire background. I wasn't happy with the way it looked before. I had two blue-green in the darks, and it just didn't quite look right. So I reverted back to my normal dark green that I use on my leaves and redid the entire background. I kept the highlights. It did a new mid value to match this dark green. So it looks pretty good. So don't ever feel that you cannot redo a background, because you can. There are ways to correct it. Am I 100% happy with this? No. But I don't think I ever would be, unless it went absolutely perfect the first time, every time, and I don't think that's ever happened to me. So, not anything new and exciting here, but I just wanted you to see me correct a background. If you wanted to do that, you certainly have that capability. So, thank you for watching.